Well, hi again, everybody. I'm Doug, and Suze is along with me again. This is On the Town, and Suze, this is going to be a lot of fun today. We had a chance to talk with really two favorite TV personalities, Linda Pearl, who many people remember from Happy Days and Matlock and so many guest appearances on a lot of shows, and, of course, Patrick Duffy, who we all know from Dallas and Step by Step, the great comedy show, and acting on, I guess before that, Man from Atlantis, and they have a new business. We're going to talk about that with them. A bread business, but Susan's going to be a lot of fun.
I am so thrilled, Doug. This is just like it's just amazing. I was just such a fan of both of them, Patrick Duffy and Linda Pearl, from growing up and watching them, and I am just absolutely thrilled. And to just have the honor to be able to get to learn more about both of them. But yes, and as far as their new business, the best of luck to them. It sounds very exciting, and it must be wonderful for them to work together on this business, and just wish them both the very best of luck.
You did a very sweet story, too, of how they got together. We'll ask them about that if they want to tell us, but they've kind of they've knew each other, I think, in the past over the years as being in Hollywood.
Wow.
But during the whole pandemic thing, they got together doing a lot of Skype interviews. It's not interviews, but Skype conversations, and it developed a nice romance out of that.
With the COVID epidemic, of course, such a, really just a very, really a terrible situation for so many people, and it instilled so much fear into the general public, and of course for the unfortunate people who did come down with the illness, and then of course being able to recover from it, feeling so grateful for the people who did recover from it. But the goodness that came out of COVID is it did bring a lot of people together, like the other tragic event, of course, 9/11, bringing so many people together also. So sometimes from a tragedy, good things can emerge. Very, very happy for them.
Let's go talk to them right now. And a great pleasure to have joining us two of our favorite people from the world of television. You all know both of them, of course, Patrick Duffy and Linda Pearl I'm talking about, and of course from shows like Dallas, Man from Atlanta, Step by Step, of course Linda Pearl from Happy Days and Matlock and so many other shows, and her great singing career as well. But they branched out into a brand new business. That's why we had them on today. One of the reasons we had them on to talk about that. It's called Duffy's Dough. It's kind of a interesting sidelight business in the baking world. We'll find out more about that. But first of all, we welcome Linda Pearl and Patrick Duffy by telephone today, and really great a pleasure to talk to you. How are you both?
Well, thank you, Todd.
Thanks for having us.
We're doing great. It's good to be back with you.
Are you out in L.A.?
No, we're in Colorado. We're going to do Christmas here in Colorado.
Oh, great.
Hopefully get some.
Okay.
Feel good about it. So yeah, and you're where? You're in Florida?
We're Sarasota, just a little bit south of Tampa Bay area, Sarasota, Florida.
Oh,
so.
okay.
One of your co-hosts, one of your former co-stars on Dallas, Audrey Landers, lives down here. We've had her on a few times, so she's a neighbor.
Oh, nice.
Sweet woman, sweet woman. Yeah, no, she was a joy to have on the show. Absolutely.
And Judy Landers also lives down here, and so we got a little Dallas connection here in Sarasota.
Well, good deal.
Well, let's talk about the new business. When I found out about it, I was very intrigued by it, and not only did I want to talk to you because big fans and all that, but interesting to kind of start a business that I didn't know the story behind it. We'll let you tell it right now, but this is not exactly something new, and this is something that's part of your family, right, Patrick?
Yes, it was interesting. It's been in my family now for 71 years, actually. My mother and father loaded my sister and myself in a pickup truck in 1951. 51, and drove from Montana to Alaska on a gravel road. And when we got there, after about the second month or so, my mother was gifted by an old woman in Alaska of a sourdough starter. And there are aficionados out there that are like wine snobs. Sourdough is quite the thing to be conversant in. So to have one that is verifiable 70 plus years old, the woman said it was over 50 years old when she gave it to my mother. There's no way, of course, of proving that, so I'm sticking with that story. And it's been in my family, and my mother baked and cooked with it the entire time we were growing up. I didn't take any interest in it. My sister, when she graduated from high school, took a portion of that starter and started cooking with it. When I graduated from college is when I started thinking, well, if my sister can do it, maybe I can do it. She gave me a starter, and I've been working with it ever since, and that would be 1971. So I've been cooking with it. So when Linda and I first got together, I'm trying my best to impress her in every way possible. So I would pull out this starter. One morning I made sourdough pancakes, and she loved them. And at one point, months into our relationship, I just offhandedly said, maybe I should look into doing a business with this. And then I forgot about it completely, but she didn't. And she started the ball rolling. She, got on the computer, finding out researched businesses. She has friends here in Colorado who are entrepreneurs who took us under their wing. And the next thing you know, we have a bona fide business, LLC, Duffy's Dough, trademarked the logos, the everything. And we've been in business now, how long?
Well, let's see. We launched in September.
We made this goal. We did 200 of these kits that have sourdough starter. And the other thing we did that was unique is we dehydrated it. So it's no longer a liquid form. It's almost in these flake-like wafers. And that way it can stay in that form for years and stay perfectly viable. And it's easier to ship. So we dehydrated it. We made up a kit that has an apron, a pot holder, measuring spoons, measuring cups, a scraper, flour, sugar, instruction book, and a rolling pin. And we made these kits, and we made 200 of them. And then we thought, well, if we don't sell 200, at least everybody gets one for Christmas. And we sold all 200 of them within 24 hours.
Wow.
Just
from a website? Just from a website?
Just on the website.
Yeah.
Just people call. It's the only way you can buy it is direct sales from DuffyDough.com. So then we had to, the orders kept coming in, and we had to get on the stick. And so we made 800 more. And we're now 1,000 orders, and we're almost sold out of those.
That's great.
So we're gearing up. All the supplies are coming back into our certified, FDA certified kitchen. Linda and I had to take a course in food handling and get certified, and we're in business. And the goal, I must tell everybody, it's called Duffy's Dough, Dough. And people shouldn't confuse that with money, like dough. Because what we want to do is use basically Newman's Own as a template, as an example.
Right.
And if this gets up and sustains itself, we're not in a profit margin yet. But if it sustains itself, then we want to start to then take the net proceed profits and form a charitable giving arm of Duffy's Dough and use it to do that. And, just be able to oversee it and keep it going and create some value.
That's
in the world, which needs it.
My grandmother always baked bread. When we were kids, and she was one of the great bread baker. My mother also, and we always enjoyed sourdough bread occasion. I never knew what made it sour. I always liked the taste, though. What makes it sour? If you can give that away, or maybe you can't tell what.
Well,
that
it does. Two things make it sour. One is it's a very unique yeast. It's an airborne yeast. It's not a store-bought yeast.
The yeast does it. Okay.
The yeast does it, but then what you do is you add flour, sugar, and water. That's it. And you stir it into a soupy mixture, and when the yeast starts to blossom, it ferments. The sugar actually ferments, and the yeast helps to do it because basically you're making wine, but with flour and sugar instead of with grapes, everything. So it gets that sour taste, that is unique to sourdough. And that's what the aficionados all, are very well versed in. I am not. I'm a one starter person. My mother's starter. That's all I know.
Right.
But we made these kits, and then we started getting emails from people saying, I don't need another apron, but I'm a baker. I just want the sourdough starter. So now we're selling that separately as well.
And
So
Linda, when they get these kits, for people like me who just want to make something real fast and not have to worry about it, is it good for guys like me, or do you have to have a little bit of talent in the kitchen?
Well, I'm the litmus test for no talent in the kitchen, or certainly no. I'd never baked. So yeah, you can do it. You follow the instructions. It's pretty simple. It takes a little bit of time, which is really part of its charm. You mix it up with the dehydrated starter with a little bit of water. You let it sit for a couple of hours, and then you feed it with some more water and flour and sugar, and you let that sit overnight, and then you're ready to go. And yeah, it's amazing how, a very simple effort can turn out some wonderful product. And I think one of the things I enjoy about it is that you can make, there's pumpkin bread, there's cinnamon rolls, there's regular old bread, there's regular dinner rolls, there are Parmesan loaves, there's all kinds of things that you can make with it. So
garlic
it's fairly, it's fairly at croutons. It's quite versatile.
Yeah, and it's indestructible. That's the thing. Once you get a good yeast starter going, it's not impossible, but it's improbable to actually kill it.
Right.
In its liquid form, if you don't use it for a month or two, it's in the refrigerator. You take it out, activate it again, and it blooms right back. Yeast goes dormant, and that's the beauty of it. It stays alive, but it's dormant.
Right.
And no matter how long it takes, especially in the dehydrated form, it can last a year or more in a dehydrated form, and then just break it out, add water, and it's like a cartoon. It just comes to life.
Now, in these kits that people can order, what do you get? Like 2 loaves of bread, how much food do you get out of that?
Well, what you get is the ability to make as much as you want once you start adding your own flour.
I see.
The kit allows you to make the starter in its liquid form, to follow instructions to actually start baking. But when you start baking, the kit would have been too large, because when you start baking, you add egg and a little salt. And some people add domestic store-bought yeast. You don't have to, but you can. If you're making cinnamon rolls, then there's cinnamon and raisins and melted butter or a butter substitute. So all of those things are in the recipe. But the key ingredient, it's like a key spice. The key ingredient is the sourdough starter itself. Mm-hmm. The kit allows you to manufacture that in a usable form that you can keep for the rest of your life.
Great.
And all you do is you keep expanding it, and then once you expand it, you save a little bit as the original, and then you use what's left to do your cinnamon rolls, your pancakes, fruit tarts, anything you want.
Linda Pearl and Patrick Duffy, our guests on the Town today. And I have to say, since we kind of heard about you two getting together during COVID, first of all, congratulations on that. It seems to be doing well. But I saw you about a year ago on a show. I think about a year ago now, they were interviewing Linda Gray. It was part of the Lambs Club, which I had a family connection to. My uncle was the shepherd of that club, and you made a little kind of surprise appearance on that. I guess that was one of the early appearances you made together, so that was fun.
That's nice. Yeah, no, Linda Gray, in a strange way, is responsible for us being together. We had known each other 3 times over 45 years, Linda and myself, literally for 5 minutes each time. Celebrity, professional, hi, how are you? Congratulations, goodbye. Well, Linda Pearl and Linda Gray made a TV movie together. And about 3 years ago, Linda Gray and I were at a celebrity event as Dallas celebrities. And Linda was way off in another corner of the room with her own celebrity station. But her friend said, Linda Gray's over there, and you did a movie with her. You should go say hi. So she went clear across the room, got to my table. Linda had gone to the powder room. And then my Linda, I call her my Linda, it's very possessive. But Linda then and I started talking. We had a mutual friend in common that she was going to see in New York in a few days. So I said, please give Richard my phone number and ask him to stay in touch. Well, about a week later, I got a picture on my phone of Linda Pearl and Richard Thomas, our mutual friend, backstage at his play. And we started communicating. And that was the seed, literally, of us getting together. Richard dropped out. Linda and I kept communicating. And texting, phoning, FaceTiming, Zooming, and I drove from my ranch in Oregon here to Colorado, and she can't get rid of me.
Thank the Lord for technology.
Well,
it can be good.
Because Patrick and I Zoomed every night for 2 or 3 months for 2 to 3 hours. And
Sure.
we were both in isolation, obviously, at that time. And so because there was nothing on our calendars, we suddenly had that, deep sort of hibernating time. And thanks to Zoom, we could do it. We could hibernate together, in this very Victorian way. We've set off, and, if we'd continued with our busy lives, maybe in 6 months, if it works out, you might get together for a drink or something. But that's not what the universe had planned. So.
No. So, the other thing that is encouraging for us is that COVID put so many restrictions and so many hardships on people, us included. But I'm sure we're not unique in finding some great thing that happened to come out of it. Ours is our relationship, but we've talked to people who they said, "Oh, I started reading books that I'd wanted to read for 20 years," or,
right.
I really started to develop an appreciation for X, Y, and Z, and they
started baking,
or they started baking with their Duffy dough. But it can offer benefits as well as obstacles, and ours was definitely a benefit in both our lives.
Hello, Patrick. This is Suze. I think I have watched just about every episode of Dallas. I was just wondering, as far as your character of Bobby Ewing, did you ever want to be a little bit out of character, or did you enjoy playing Bobby? And was it fun working with Linda Gray and, of course, Victoria Principal and Larry Hagman on the show?
Wow, that's a lovely question, and the answers are all quite positive. In reverse order, as a cast of Dallas, we were one of the closest mixes of people, that do television, and our guest stars all told us that they've never worked on a show where everybody got along to the extent we did, especially Larry and Linda and myself. We were often on set referred to as the Three Musketeers, that nothing happened unless the three of us agreed. When the show went down and people started pitching alternate versions of Dallas, the three of us were the ones that had to okay it or not, and we never found anything worthy until the reboot in 2011.
Right.
So in that sense, it was a wonderful thing to work on every single day for 13 years. In terms of my character, in the very beginning, I was quite worried that he would become boring because he was sort of one note in the first few episodes. The producer took a lot of pains to discuss with me my fears, basically, of what I might be trapped into. And he developed the character of Bobby with just enough energy, anger, always for the right things, angry at misappropriation of power, angry at inequities in the real world, to give me enough variety in the stuff I was meant to do. The other side of it is I love being a good guy. I am also, I am who I look like, and 90% of the time I'm going to cast in that form in any way. But it's lovely to go home and you have two small children that know you only as the hero on television, and hopefully you can measure up at home. When I'm greeted by people on the street, it's always with a smile and "we love you." Larry used to get hit by little old ladies with their handbags. He literally almost got knocked out by a little old lady in Dallas once who swung at her with her handbag so hard and hit him in the head. So, no, good guys are in my quiver, and it's just about the only arrow that I shoot.
I watched the show, obviously, originally when it was on, and then more recently it's on one of those Roku channels you can get called Freevee, and I've been watching it again. And it holds up not only because of, you just remember it, but the acting, obviously, the writing, and just the way you and Larry and all the characters, Linda and Pam and everybody, there was something special about that show that I think a lot of the other soaps didn't have at that level. Would you say that?
That's true. I think it's very true because, we were unique in that we started it. And then Aaron Spelling, who's a brilliant businessman, after the second year of Dallas, he thought, I'll do my version of Dallas and I'll do it on steroids. So he basically made it glitzier, richer, campier, all of those things, but lost part of that humanity that we started with.
Right.
And I think that's what made us unique. Then Falcon Crest, same thing. It was the writing, it was everything else. It was also the magic of us as a cast. Those other casts did not fill and check all the boxes that we did. We were, Larry Hagman was the biggest star in television in the world. But in terms of being on the set in Dallas, our relationships, he was just another member of the cast. He was treated no differently, nor did he want to be. And that set the standard for our show that I don't think the other shows had. So we were fortunate, but we were sprinkled with stardust,
As far as the dream season on Dallas, I would love to know how you felt about that season, and especially the shower scene where Pam comes in and you're still alive. I know some of the fans were disappointed because the dream season, it was so well acted and seemed so real, and then the show evolved with the next season into something different, and just wondering how you felt or how Larry Hagman felt about it, or Linda Gray, the other actors on the show felt about it.
I've since spoken, obviously, a long time to most of the cast members. I've heard their interviews, and as a cast of family, everybody was thrilled for me to come back within the family. I completely understand the fan base, because we have such a loyal fan base on Dallas. It defies description in my mind. But they invested no matter what. And the year that the show, when I was off, not only was I gone, but the executive producer left at that same time.
Right.
And a new person came in with the ideas of changing the show, which upset Larry no end. He did not like the direction it was going. He thought it was becoming too, for the want of a better word, Aaron Spelling-like.
Yeah.
It became international and drug lords and all this kind of stuff. So he was very upset, and he was one of the people who shepherded the campaign to get me back on the show. It being a dream is a very interesting thing, because if they had not done that and figured out some other way, Bobby was dead, and I would have to come back as an alternate character in some form or another. And we would have to, as a cast and as a show, continue that year storyline that nobody liked. Leonard Katzman was asked back the same time I was, because they knew the show was in trouble. And he's the one who came up with the idea. He just said, let's not have that show for a year exist. Bobby saves her, doesn't get killed, and he's in the shower, and it was all a dream of Pam's. And so it surprised none of the cast members, including Larry, knew how I was coming back. And Victoria didn't know. When she opened that shower door, John Beck was in the shower. And that scene was in the beginning of that episode. And they just had a conversation, and he went off to work, and they were happily married. So Leonard Katzman and myself, and we were the only two people, went and hired a commercial company that only makes television commercials. We went to a separate studio, separate soundstage. In the middle of this huge soundstage, they built a shower. That was the exact replica of the one in the show. And we spent an entire day doing an Irish Spring soap commercial just to get that moment of me turning around, so they could cut it perfectly with her opening the door, me turning around saying good morning, end of season. Let everybody think about it for an entire 3 months. Yeah. And we'll come back with the next episode where I walk out toweling myself off, and she says, I had this horrible dream. And everything continued as if that whole season hadn't existed, which was great for the company, great for the actors, not so great for the audience, but they all came back. We got 5 more years out of the show. So
I thought it was great.
I think it was.
But I think people back then got a little bit too attached. But I thought that was a great way to do it. Like Bob Newhart did the same thing. With the dream sequence. Completely. Remember what the whole previous series was a dream, and they wake up in the bed in Chicago.
Yeah, and they're together again. And quite honestly, I tell people this. I say, you got to study up on your history here. Shakespeare uses dreams, half a dozen times in his plays. Alice in Wonderland, that's a dream. Anytime you need to solve, Wizard of Oz. So anytime you need to solve a problem, anytime you got a solved problem, have somebody wake up.
Linda, let me ask you a little bit since we chatted last time. I'm sorry we didn't get a chance to chat when the last CD came out about a year or so ago. Everything going crazy, but I know you had one about a year or so ago, and the singing career is still going pretty good. Have you been able to kind of get it going again as far as public performances?
Well, thank you. Yeah, I sure missed it, when we weren't able to. But, yeah. So, yes, I guess in January, we suddenly had like 3 or 4 concerts, and we're gonna be recording a new CD at the end of January.
Oh, great.
Did a concert.
So, yeah, I did a concert in England, and, yeah, it's fun. It's become a big, important part of my life, and something I enjoy to do. I don't know, it's very joyful, and maybe even metaphorically, just being involved with the idea of harmony, it does something to your cells, and I'm grateful that I get to do it when I do.
And just for people not aware, I mean, Linda does the standards, jazz, and that kind of music, which you're keeping it going. Thank you. I do a show like that. We play, we play that kind of music, so we got to keep it going.
Well, there you go. And I can't sing pop to save my life, but the thing about the Great American Songbook is that they're little stories, they're like little one-act plays, and so that really appeals to me. Of course, the melodies are just so extraordinary. Anyway, that's the my limited area of singing.
Linda, so thrilled that you're on the show also. My mom was a huge fan of yours, and so was my dad. I was wondering, as far as your singing, is there a favorite song or group of songs that you enjoy singing?
I think that's like trying to choose your favorite child.
Right.
There are several, and basically it's whatever song I'm getting to sing in the moment. It becomes my favorite tune. So yeah, sorry,
there's so many songs in that genre. It is hard to pick, but
well,
you can't go wrong with any of them.
That every love song is about me. However,
that's
right.
it. Well, Linda, when the CD comes out, please, I know your publicist usually sends out an email about it. I'd love to have you on when that comes out. So let's do that when it comes out. So we'll have you on again for that. And we'll put it on our show. Yeah. But before we wrap up, we don't want to keep it too long. I could talk an hour on this, but your time is valuable, and we appreciate you taking it today. And I did know that you both did a play over in Ireland. I saw on the Facebook you did little videos. How did that go?
It was so much fun. It was actually England. We were there for 7 months.
Yeah, right.
22 theaters of 22 of the most beautiful venues, for the most part turn-of-the-century theaters, and it was such fun being on the road with 5 other English actors and just a wonderful crew, and it was an opportunity of a lifetime.
And it was the first time in the UK that theaters had opened up after the pandemic.
It was pretty soon after, right?
Yeah, it was so rewarding to see the audience come in and then wait for us afterwards to tell us how meaningful it was to be with their friends again, to be able to go out. And not only that, ours was a comedy, basically, a lot of laughs, a lot of good feelings in it. And so they were able to enjoy themselves, be with their friends, see the theater. And England has the most loyal theater audience I've ever seen. And it was so rewarding for us to travel the country. And we did travel the country, 152 performances in probably every major city in the UK, including Northern Ireland.
I didn't realize there was that many. Okay, wow. Oh.
Yeah.
How was it? Now, obviously, you had not worked before in television together. Was that a different dynamic working on stage together? Did you kind of have a different connection as far as actors go, or how'd that work?
No, not at all. It was seamless, and we had sort of a trial run. We had been able to do a movie of the week together in Canada, maybe 6 months or so before we did that, and more recently we've done a couple of episodes of Bold and Beautiful. So. Mm-hmm. It's actually a piece, but when we first went to work together, we thought, oh no, what if it doesn't work? We just worked differently on the set, but that was not the case at all. It was just a seamless transition.
And we're from the same era of work and learning how to work and the respect for the work. We've been doing this now for 50 years. So getting on stage with English people whose life is theater we fit in very well. So it was wonderful to go home together after a performance, to have dinner, get up in the morning, go to the theater, be together, work together. It was nice also because we weren't a couple in the play. We were antagonists in the play. At one point, I try and kill her. So that got out of the system. So everything left over was good feeling and love.
Well, that's great. I just kind of followed you along on Facebook. You put the little videos up, which was fun to watch. But we'll wrap up now and just give out one more time. We want people to go to the website, which is duffysdough.com, and get one of these, or not just one, get multiple bread kits. And that's the best place. That's the only place you can get it right now is the website, right?
It is. And if they go on and order by the 12th of December, FedEx has guaranteed us that it will get to their addresses by Christmas.
Great. Yeah, I'm going to go on and order something because, as Linda says, if it's easy to bake, I'll give it a go because I'm not a great baker.
And if you have any problems, call us privately and I'll walk you through.
I'll call you. I got your number. Linda Pearl and Patrick Duffy, real pleasure to really finally get a chance to talk to you, Patrick. And Linda, of course, we've talked before, and we will do it again. And we'll have you on again, Patrick, as you're available. But good luck with this business, and God bless you both for the relationship. That's really the most important thing.
Thank you so much, Doug. And have a happy holiday. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
You too.
And to your co-host, I hope she's not out through
No, she just had to work today. We couldn't fit her with her other job for the time we're doing it. But she's a bigger Dallas fan than I am, if that's possible. So.
Merry Christmas to her as well.
Great. Thanks, Patrick. Thanks, Linda.